Now, in this session, we are going to cover Enterprise Agile. Now, the agenda of this session is we would understand what is Lean, we would understand what is Enterprise Agile, we would understand a very popular framework called as Safe Agile. Safe stands for Scaled Agile Framework. We would understand the foundation of Safe Framework. We would understand what is Agile Release Train. Then we would understand how to implement Safe Framework at a team level, at a program level, at a portfolio level, and at value stream level. And we would see some of the core roles in Safe Framework. Now, before that, let me ask you a question. What is lean according to you? What does the word lean means to you?
Lean is basically Lean is all about like reducing waste and making the process or anything more efficient.
Yes, absolutely. So when I say lean, the immediate thing that should come into your mind is avoid waste. Now there are various kinds of waste that are available in a particular system. So this wastage can be in the form of defects, can be in the form of overproduction, can be in the form of waiting, can be in the form of unused talent, transportation, inventory, motion, extra processing. So these are some of the examples wherein we tend to waste certain things. Now when it comes to agile, we all are aware at this point of time that there are lot of rework that are happening in an agile projects. If you consider the classic agile framework wherein the scrum processes, wherein we have a team under us, then we have the scrum master and the product owner who are the guiding and mentoring forces behind that particular product. We tend to explore a lot, and basis on those exploration we tend to come up in certain situation or circumstances wherein we see that there are a lot of wastage happening in that particular system. In certain cases, the requirement or the deliverable that you deliver to the end customer are not proper. So what's the ultimately that you receive towards the end of the system are the defects, which doesn't meet customers' expectation. Now there are cases when there are overproduction happening. Now overproduction is like something is asked to you and you give something more to the customer. Now the customer doesn't want that additional work. So again, that is wasted. Then there is something called as waiting. Now let's say a scenario wherein you are working as a product owner and you don't have a suitable backlog with you, and the development team during their sprint planning meeting, they are asking you for a particular backlog which they could pick up. Now you say as a product owner, at this point of time I do not have sufficient items in my particular backlog. So ultimately what the development team does, they tend to wait. They are compulsive for that particular step that they need to take, that they have no choice left and they have to wait. Now when they are waiting, that is additionally contributing to your rework or waste effort. Then there is something called as unused talent. Now in agile we give authority to everyone, that you come and you pick whatever you feel comfortable with. We never advocate them, okay, this I am forcefully assigning to you. Now, taking that into consideration, there may be a circumstances wherein as a product owner, you have to guide the team basis on the complexity of the item you have. Let's say there is a person who has experience of more than 10 years and he is picking up items from product backlog, which even a 1 to 2 years experience can do. There is when you are unusing your talent. So as a product owner, you have to guide that 10 years experience person that basis on your experience, it is advisable you pick up some mature items, some items which are complex in nature. Although you are not forcing them, but you can always guide them. So that is what it talks about. So lean also deals with unusing or talent that you are having in that particular project context. Then there are something called as transportation, then there are something inventory, motion, extra processing. These are also some of the examples wherein we tend to waste certain amount of time, effort or deliverable. Now, lean agile is a principle which is used extensively in SAFe framework to reduce and avoid waste, to increase the efficiency. Now, when I say increase the efficiency, that means we are not dominating the team, but rather we are guiding the team to utilize their time efficiently. Because in vanilla agile or the primitive agile, which we saw, the Scrum process, we practice agile, no doubt we practice agile, but we tend to avoid certain things. We tend to ignore some of the areas or aspects wherein we see that the team is not utilizing the bandwidth or the talent or the effort that is available, which ultimately results in wasting the particular time box that is available to them. So in SAFe agile, we focus on utilizing that aspect, avoiding waste. At the same time, we also explore opportunities around how can we scale up or take agile to an enterprise level. Now, enterprise is like you have a core set of portfolio. Under portfolio, you would be having your programs. Under programs, you would be having your individual teams. Now, so far, what we have learned in Agile, it's more focused towards individual team. We never touch base the portfolio or the program aspect to it. But here in this session, we are going to touch base with the portfolio and the program aspect of Agile. Now, what is Enterprise Agile? So, it's a type of Agile methodology that aims to scale Agile principles and practices to the enterprise and address the specific challenges of managing a large number of Agile sized teams that is composed of hundreds or thousands of members. Now, in our core Agile, the Scrum processes which we saw, therein the maximum team size could be of 10 people. Now, what if the team size grows to hundreds or thousands of people? Now, for that reason, we have Enterprise Agile in place. Now, Enterprise Agile has different frameworks under it. Some frameworks are your SAFe framework that we are going to cover today. Then there is Disciplined Agile framework. Then there is LESS framework. So these frameworks are targeted towards catering to the needs wherein the team size is more than 100 people. In that context, we would be using this Enterprise Agile people. So minimum 100 people are needed. After that, the team size can grow to n number of um, layers or levels or people. Now, if the team size is 10 or less than 10, then you would be using your core agile like it is. If the team size is more than 100 or for that matter any number beyond 100, then you would be following an enterprise agile approach. Now, what are enterprise agile frameworks? Like I said, there are different frameworks that are available. Like you have your frameworks called as scaled agile framework, large scale scrum, that is less. Then you have disciplined agile framework or DAD framework that are available to help you scale agile at an enterprise level. Now, what are the challenges for enterprise agile? Now, these are the some of the important challenges when you are dealing with enterprise agile. First challenge is visibility. How do you keep track of the work in progress of hundreds of small teams? Now, when we saw in our earlier sessions wherein we only had to deal with a team size which was of 10 to 15 people, wherein we practiced the Scrum process, it was very easy to track the work of those teams. It wasn't a difficult activity. We had a burn down chart wherein we tracked their daily progress, what they are doing, and we used to track their sprint progress with the help of sprint velocity and so on. So we had a fair understanding about what they are doing on a daily basis and on a continual basis. But when we decide to adapt enterprise agile, the challenge tend to be increasing in terms of visibility, because now the question is about tracking the productivity of every individual, and the team size has grown from 10 to 15 people to more than 100 people. So it's not an easy job. You have to deal with that particular visibility. You have to set up an infrastructure beforehand before moving into enterprise agile frameworks. Then comes the challenge of coordination. how do you get team of 100 people to communicate and coordinate their work in such a way? Now, in our regular agile, in the Scrum process, we used to have certain Scrum ceremonies like daily stand up or sprint planning meeting or retrospective meeting or your any XYZ meeting, the four ceremonies. So it was very easy in terms of coordination. But when it comes to coordinating with more than 100 people, that is again a challenge in enterprise agile framework. So we have to set up an point of contact for every team when it comes to enterprise agile, by which we would be you know interacting with different teams that are available. Then comes the alignment challenge, wherein we need to make sure that this autonomous and self-organized team all work in the right direction to further your strategic goals. Now, every project that we take into development, we have some challenges in place and we have some goals to solve. So we have to keep them motivating these self-organized team to frequently and continuously contribute towards their perceived goals. So that goes a challenging part when it comes to enterprise agile, because the team size is no more 10 to 15 people. The team size has significantly grown to more than 100 people. Then comes the learning aspect, wherein how do you clone the success of one team to other team? Now in enterprise agile, what happens is like when we extend our regular agile framework at an enterprise level, what we do at the topmost, we keep the portfolios. Under the portfolios, we have our programs, and under those programs, we have our regular teams. Now these teams are divided into different sizes. So every team would be of 15 people. Now these 15 people would be challenging a strategic goal of that particular area of that application. For example, if I want to scale my team to an enterprise level in an insurance domain, I would be having 15 people for billing module. Then I would be having 15 people for policy administration system. Then I would be having 15 people for reporting system and 15 people for claim system. Now these four teams would report to the respective stakeholder at a program level. Now this program level people would report to a stakeholder at a portfolio level. So this way the hierarchy goes from bottom to top. So what we are doing essentially over here is we are practicing the core agile but at the bottom level. Bottom level as in wherein we are dividing the team basis on the area of expertise of that particular application. But beyond that, we are scaling our team at an enterprise level to include everyone in that organizational ecosystem. So in our earlier regular agile, we had only three roles: the development team, the scrum master, and the product owner. But here the three core roles would be there. But in addition to that, there would be many new roles like the chief scrum master, chief product owner, then there would be something like product manager, then there would be AVP, VP, whoever are involved in that particular organization who are dealing with this enterprise agile team, they would all be considered as a part of agile team, and it would be a bottom up approach. Next comes your risk management part, wherein we deal with uh, the risk and we ensure that failure does not take down the whole organization. Now, earlier, if a particular team fails, then that particular project fails. But in enterprise agile case, the whole organization fails. Why? Because we have scaled agile to an organizational level. It is no more at a project level like in earlier case. This is practiced at an organizational level. So if a particular team fails, then it is a failure for the entire organization, not a particular project. Now, how this this particular safe framework looks like? If you see, it's an agile framework for software development. It provides a simple, lightweight experience for the development team. The whole framework is divided into three segments: the team, the program, and the portfolio. Now, it allows team for implementing your lean agile software and system in enterprise level basis on the lean and agile principle that we saw. It gives detailed guidance for the work at the enterprise portfolio, value stream, program, and team. It is designed to meet the needs of all stakeholders within an organization. Like I said, SAFe framework deals with four important levels: the portfolio, the value stream, the program, and the granular teams. Basis on these four levels, your SAFe framework is based upon. Now, what are these four levels? We would see it in a while. If you see, this is how your SAFe framework look like. So at the bottom, you have the team who is writing the story, wherein the product owner writes the story, and the basis on the story, the development team creates the task. This is the team level. Above the team level comes your program level, wherein you have your sub epics and business epics. Okay. Now these are stories, these are epics. Now within those epics, there are different features which the team picks up. So if you see, the architectural epic features are picked up by these two teams, and the business epic features are picked up by this particular team, and they have a relation to this particular feature as well, because architecture and business, they go hand on hand. So you cannot work in a disconnected environment in agile. What you are doing, your team should be aware of, or the corresponding team should be aware of. That's the reason why there is a link between it. Now on top of it are your portfolios, wherein your epic at a high level are described, like what is the value that you are giving to the business, the essentially the value stream. After every epic delivery, what's the value you would be giving to that particular customer when it comes into the place. Now all your value stream mapping would be taken care of by the stakeholder who are at a portfolio level. All your sub epic deliverables would be taken care of by the stakeholder who are at a program level, and the regular agile team would be delivering their work. So this is how they have categorized the portfolio, the programs, and the team. Now there are certain benefits that we get with the help of SAFe framework. That is what SAFe says in public openly. They say that their productivity gets increased by 20 to 50% as they tend to avoid waste. Their quality increased more than 50%. Time to market is faster than 30 to 75%. And increased employment, engagement, and job satisfaction are the core four statements Scale Agile framework makes in public. So that is what they say when they start implementing Safe Agile framework. Now, in this particular example, we saw epics are a large body of work which is further sub-broken into sub-epics. Then under sub-epics comes your user story, and the development team creates task basis on the user story. Now, when to use SAFe framework? So when a team is interested to implement agile approach consistently across larger multi-team programs and portfolios, then we can go for SAFe framework. Or if there are multiple teams and are running their own way of agile implementation but regularly face obstacles, delays, and failure, that is also a time when we can go for SAFe framework. When team wants to work independently, we can implement SAFe framework. When you want to scale agile across the organization but not sure what new roles may be needed or what existing roles, that is management, need to change and how, then we can use SAFe framework. Then when an organization needs to improve its product development lead time and want to know how other companies have succeeded in scaling agile with SAFe, we can go about using the SAFe framework. Now, how SAFe is different from other agile frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, or any XYZ agile framework, which are at a team level. How SAFe is different from those agile. So the very first pointer, it is publicly available and it is free to use, SAFe framework. Second, it is available in a highly approachable and usable form. It's lightweight, practically proven results, and specific to levels. So the main USP or unique selling point for SAFe Agile is the categorization of the levels, the programs, the portfolios, the team, and the value stream. So once you are rightly able to identify who would fall under who, as in the business stakeholder, who all stakeholder would fall under which category, it's the right time when you can go about using SAFe Agile at their respective level, like program, portfolio, the team, or the value stream. Now, it constantly or regularly modifies, maintains most commonly used agile practices. It offers useful extension to common agile practices, grounds agile practices to an enterprise context, and so on. This is how your safe agile is different from your regular agile frameworks. Now we will see what are the foundation of safe agile. So whatever we covered so far, that was some bit of introduction about the safe framework. Now we will see what are the foundation of safe framework. Now remember, in our regular agile, there were certain foundational statements that were there. Similarly, in safe agile framework, these are the 6 foundation that we have. The first is safe lean principles. Second is safe core values. Third is safe agile, lean agile leaders. Fourth is lean agile mindset. Fifth is community of practice. And sixth is implementing 1, 2, 3. So these are the 6 core principles that the safe agile framework follows. Now let us explore these 6 core principles one after another. Now when it comes to lean agile principle under foundation of safe framework, so these are the basic principles and values for safe, and it must be understood, exhibited and continued in order to get the desired result. So for example, taking an economic view, then applying system thinking, assuming variability, preserve options, build incrementally with fast integrated learning cycles, base milestone on objective evaluation or working systems, visualize and limit work in progress, reduce batch sizes. So whatever lean principles that you have would be part of your first principle of safe agile framework. So safe says that you have to reduce waste as much as possible by following your lean agile principle. Whatever that comes in place which you feel like it would be a waste, those would be considered under lean agile principles that you have to practice, because ultimately when you reduce the waste, it would ultimately increase the efficiency and productivity of the overall team, which may extend to the entire organization, which is intended for safe framework. The second thing is lean agile core values. Now there are 4 core values in lean agile: the alignment, the built-in quality, the transparency, and the program execution. These are the 4 core values of your lean agile, like how good, how fast, how much, and how happy are my customer. How good is the software, how fast we can deliver, how much it would cost, and how happy are my customer. So if you consider the alignment core value, it talks about strategic themes in portfolio backlog, and move down to vision and roadmap of your program backlog, and then move to team backlogs. So here what it talks about, when you are writing user stories, you would first create a portfolio backlog. Like we have a product backlog, we have something called as portfolio backlog and program backlog. So first you would create a backlog at a portfolio level, which would called as portfolio backlog. Then under that, you would be creating a backlog at a program level, which is called as program backlog. And then you would be called you would be creating the backlogs at a team level. So essentially what you are doing over here is you are writing high level user stories at a portfolio backlog. You are dividing those high level user story into small user story in program backlog, and you are further refining those stories into even smaller and granular user stories in the team backlog. So ultimately towards the end, once you complete a particular user story from portfolio backlog, it is considered that a value has been delivered to the customer. Okay, now if you consider the themes, strategic theme, like what is the theme of that particular project, it is directly aligned with your portfolio backlog. If you consider the vision and roadmap of that particular project, it is aligned to your program backlog. And team backlog is like what you are doing at a very granular level. Now my question to you is, where is product backlog in this case? Will it be at a portfolio level, program level, or team level? The product backlog that we had in regular agile context.
Can you just repeat the question?
I'm saying that Here we saw three types of backlog. Portfolio
Yes.
backlog aligned at a portfolio level, program backlog aligned at a program level, team backlog aligned at a team level. Now, when I covered the agile session, I introduced you to something called as product backlog. Where is that product backlog in these three cases?
I would say portfolio backlog.
Okay. Any other views? So the first thing over here is there is no concept called as product backlog when it comes to Safe Agile framework. Okay, so Safe Agile, since it is practiced at an enterprise level, there is no concept of product backlog. You would essentially be having portfolio backlog, program backlog, and team backlog. Now, since team backlogs are resembling to your regular agile framework, wherein we had smaller team sizes, you can relate it to a product backlog. Your team backlogs can be related to a product backlog, but there is no concept of product backlog in Safe Agile framework. Now, the second core value is built-in quality, wherein we need to ensure that every incremental delivery reflects the quality standard. So quality is not added later, it's built in. So you need to ensure that everything that you deliver to your customer has the necessary set of quality standard it has passed through. So that is something you need to take into consideration. The third core principle or core value it talks about is transparency is the enabler for trust. Now, SAFE helps the enterprise to achieve transparency at all levels, executives, portfolio managers, and other stakeholders. So, here we are onboarding as many team members as we can. So, the greatest challenge that would come into picture when you are having a huge team size of more than 100 people is having transparency between them, because one of the core values of agile is having a transparency. You know who is doing what, and you know who is having those challenges. But that was a case when our team size was less in number. Now what if our team size has grown significantly? Shouldn't transparency be an issue? Yes, it would be an issue, but we have to upscale ourselves and have to set a certain standards wherein we need to understand what are the challenges they are facing. After that, each level has a clear understanding of the PI goals. So what is PI here? Okay, I give you two options over here. Is it product increment or program increment?
Product increment.
No, it is program increment. That's the reason why I ask you, so that you answer me as product increment. So in this case, in Safe Agile framework, PI stands for program increment. So ultimately, we are solving the program level expectation or the program level goals. So in regular Agile, we have a product increment, but when it comes to practicing Agile and enterprise level, your product increment goes to a program increment, because product you are developing like anything in anything, as in it do not have that level of visibility, but whatever things are done at your program level, that is what as perceived as valuable to the customer. So here PI stands for program increment. Now, train programs have visibility into teams backlog as well as other program backlogs. So whatever the trained programs, um, I mean, users would be there, they would be having the visibility into teams backlog as well as your programs backlog. Then teams and programs have the visibility into business and architectural epics. So depending on this particular diagram that we saw over here, everyone has a visibility to each other's work. Portfolio people have visibility to program people have visibility to team people work, and vice versa. Team has visibility to program people, and program people have visibility to portfolio people. After that comes your program execution. Now here safe places great focus on working systems and resultant business outcomes. So like the core value of agile, we focus more on working system and the business outcomes that we need to that we are expecting out of that particular system. So safe is not useful if team can't execute and continuously deliver value. Now the moment you realize that the team is unable to execute or unable to upscale themselves as per the safe guidelines, then there's no point continuing further with that particular safe implementation. That's the point when you should stop practicing safe. So that is the key indicator that you need to consideration once you have implemented safe at an organizational level. Now, your core agile, the regular agile, they are implemented at a team level, and safe agile is something that are implemented at an overall enterprise or organizational level. Now, the third value that a principle that come into picture is lean agile leaders in safe framework. Now, these lean agile leaders are lifelong learners and teachers. Like we have the Scrum Master who gives us the necessary education about how we should follow the processes and practices. The product owner who teaches us about the product outcomes, what is the objective behind developing this particular product. Now in safe framework, we have something called as lean agile leaders who essentially does this activities. So as an enabler for the teams, the ultimate responsibility here is adoption, success, and ongoing improvement. And leaders need to adopt a new style of leadership. Now, there are certain principles of these lean agile: lead the change, know the way, emphasize lifelong learning, develop people, inspire and align with mission, minimize constraints, decentralize decision making, unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge worker. Now, these are the core objective of lean agile leaders who are part of your safe framework. So this is their work that they need to do. Next, we have to have a lean agile mindset. Now, when it comes to lean agile mindset, there are two things essentially. One is the agile manifesto, which we already saw in detail. And then there is something called as the safe house of lean. Now, what is safe house of lean? Now, these safe house of lean has certain goal or value associated to it, like sustainable shortest lead time, best quality and value to people and society, high morale, safety, and customer delight. So essentially, it is the same thing that your regular agile does, but it is more at an enterprise level. Now, inside that, we have these four things that we need to consider: respect for people and culture. Like I said, agile is not practiced the way the other frameworks are practiced. Here we need to tend to respect people and their work. So we need not to overload them, or we need not to make them wait, or we need not to force them to do wasteful work, or we don't want to impulse wishful thinking on them. So we have to build long-term partnership based on trust. So this is what it talks about, the safe house of lead. We need to respect for people and their culture. Then we have to take into consideration the flow. Flow as in built-in quality, flow depends on it. Understand, exploit, and manage variability. Avoid start, stop, start project delays. Use informed decision. So we need to ensure that the deliverables are in continuity. There is no stoppage in between. Okay. Now, when I say continuity, we need to maintain that velocity of the deliverable after every sprint cycle. Then we have to promote innovation as well, like produce innovating customer ideas, get out of office, provide time and space for creativity, apply innovation accounting. Now innovation can happen in multiple ways. If you see, your project manager asks you for a team outing, or the project manager asks you for a team lunch, So these are team building activities, and during these meetings, you tend to get some innovative ideas that you can contribute towards your overall project. So your safe house of lean promotes that innovation and the associated activities in that particular innovation step. Then comes your relentless improvement, wherein you have to constant sense of danger, optimize the whole, consider facts carefully, then act quickly. Here you have to manage all your risk associated with that particular project. If you see in a particular situation wherein you feel that a particular user story would take more than 3 weeks of time, and you have already start building that particular user story, now all of a sudden you see there is a huge risk in that particular user story, and you cannot complete that user story within 3 to 4 weeks. It may take 2 or more than 2 months to complete. So you have to constantly highlight those risks, because in agile what happens is like your requirements are not clear upfront. So this is a common circumstances that may happen when you start actually working in your agile project, and at a later point of time you realize that this particular chunk of work effort is not properly justified. We justified it as 3 weeks, but now we discovered a crucial requirement in that particular work item, so it would get delayed to 1 month or 2 months. So these are also something that you need to take into consideration when it comes to lean house of lean um, uh, agile mindset. Then the part B is your agile manifesto. So we have already touched base to it. We need to promote customer satisfaction. We need to welcome change. We need to deliver frequently. We have to work together. We have to motivate our team. We have to emphasize more on face-to-face communication. We need to work towards creating working software at a constant pace. We need to make good decision. We need to promote simplicity. We have to be self-organized, and we have to reflect and adjust depending on the project circumstances. And the manifesto talks about individual and interaction over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. Then comes community of practice. Now, what is community of practice? Now, community of practice are essentially organized group of people who have a common interest, okay, in a specific technical or business domain, like we saw in our BA communication package, wherein every stakeholder is concerned about their domain and their work. They are not at all concerned about their others' work and other what other people are doing. But Agile doesn't advocate that particular thing. Agile says that everyone has to be aware of their particular, I mean, each other's work item, if not at a detail level, but at a higher level. Now, in SAFE framework, we have place for this community of practice people, wherein we can organize people basis on their common interest, whether it is in on technical side or is on business side. So when we say community of practice, we have three distinct traits to be considered over here: the domain specific people, what we care about; the practice people, what we do together about it; and the community people who cares about it. So community are nothing but your what I would say individuals who are essentially your end customer. So domain people are the people who are interested only about the business requirements, and practice people are the people who contribute between the community and the domain. So they provoke or communicate or promote what we do together about it. So these are the three categories that comes into consideration when it comes to community of practice in SAFe framework. Now, if you see a role-based community of practice, this is an example. We have a community of product manager and product owners. We have a community of scrum master. We have a community of test engineers. We have a community of user experience designer, and we have a community of system engineers. And then we have a community of developers. Now, there are three lines or three trains you could see in this particular diagram. Can you identify what are these three trains or lines over here? No, I explained you three things: portfolio, program, and team. So these are the product manager and product owners at a portfolio level, scrum master at a portfolio level, developers at a portfolio level, test engineer at a portfolio level, UX designer and systems engineer at a portfolio level. That is portfolio engineers stream. Then there is program stream, wherein you have product manager and product owners at a program level, scrum master at a program level, developers at a program level. So that is program stream. And then there is team stream, where you have product owner, product manager and product owners at a team level, scrum master at a team level, test engineer, developers, UX designers and systems engineer at a team level. So here we have done community of practice. We have classified the communities of product manager and product owner, scrum masters community, developers community, test engineers, user experience designer and systems engineers designer. Now can anyone tell me what is the benefit of classifying them this way, from here to here, not from here to here, not horizontally, vertically? Why have we classified them as vertically, not horizontally?
We can know at every level what each assigned role has to do.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. That is what we just read. That community of practice are organized group of people who have common interest. Now, what is common interest in this case? So, common interest of the product manager and product owner would be, common interest for product manager and product owners at a program level, and same at the portfolio level. So here the appropriate direction or delegation would happen right from the portfolio level to program level to the team level. Same thing for these three category of people as well, wherein we build a community of practice. Now if we would have classified them horizontally, like one product manager or product owner, one scrum master, one developer, one test engineer, one UX and one system engineer. So we have classified them at a everyone in that particular team at a team level. So there may be a chances that information from a team level may not reach out to appropriately to the program level, and the information from program level may not reach out appropriately to the portfolio level. So if let's say a particular product manager wants to know about the details of the development work at a team level, so he can reach out to the product manager and product owner at that particular team level. He may not reach out to the development team. So same case, if a program manager wants to know about the testing status of a project at a team level, so he would directly reach out to the product manager and product owner within their community. They may not reach out to that particular individual test engineer. So that's the reason why we follow community of practice, wherein we classify people at each level basis on their common interest. Okay. Now the last part is implementing 1 2 3. Now what is 1 2 3? Number one is train lean agile change agents. Number two, train all executive managers and leaders. Number three, train team and launch trains. Now what is train over here? Okay, what is your perception around train before I introduce you to train? What it could be basis on this diagram? Is it only about giving training or something else? Okay, let me not confuse you further and introduce you to what is agile release train. Now, in SAFe framework, we have a concept called as train. Now, what are train or what are ART or agile release train? Now, here you could see the engine of the train. Now, who is sitting in the engine? The business owner, the product manager, the system architect, the release train engineer. Now, after that, there are coaches. The Agile Team 1, Agile Team 2, Agile Team 3, Agile Team 4, and Agile Team 5. Now, every product increment or every sprint cycle is a delivery of your Agile release train. Now, there are, you would have all these people, they formalize what needs to be done in that particular SAFe framework. Your business owner, your product manager, your system architect, your release train engineer, they would sit in a particular meeting and they would give the necessary direction to the entire Agile teams. So all your Agile team has to follow the command of this particular railway engine in this particular situation. So here, before starting your Agile train, you have to onboard the people associated with it. So these are not the essentially the four types of people. There would be multiple other people also, like your solution train engineer, your solution manager, your solution architect, your release manager, your supplier, your shared service people, your system team, your customer, whoever are there who would give the necessary direction to the agile teams, they would be onboarded into your particular train. Now, after that, your train has been formed, you would start your train to deliver a solution. Now, every cycle, your train would deliver a solution. Okay, every release cycle, your train would go on and it would keep on delivering solution after solution. Towards the end, you have to inspect and adapt whether the value has been delivered or not. So, the crucial process over here is onboarding the right people into the train. Train as in the engine of the train, who would be giving the direction to the team, the business owner, whoever you feel that they are the right people who should be onboarded as the train engine, you would onboard them. And then you have to connect your deliverables in the form of agile team. So highest priority would come, would be delivered first and would serve as the last coach, and then followed by the next lowest priority, then lowest than that, then lowest than that, then lowest than that. So every time your train delivers a value, one item would be removed from your last coach and a new item would be added after this 5 6 and so on. So this is how your agile release train concept works. Now this concept is exclusive to SAFe framework. In other framework you won't find a concept like ART, agile release train. Now how do we implement SAFe framework? Now there are two versions of SAFe framework, SAFe 4.0 and SAFe 3.0. So SAFe 3.0 is an older version comparative to SAFe 4.0. Now in SAFe 3.0, we have three levels, portfolio, program, and team. And in SAFe 4.0, we have four levels, portfolio, value stream, program, and team. Now four levels of, if you want to evaluate that which level, which framework of SAFe you need to implement for the team. If your team size is 100 or less than 100, then you go for SAFe 3.2. If your team size is more than 100, then you go for SAFe 4.0. So SAFe levels are your portfolio, value stream, program, and team. So until now, whatever we have seen, that is part of SAFe 3.0, wherein we had portfolio, program, and team. There is a new thing that is introduced called as value stream, which is part of your SAFe 4.0 framework. So now the current market version of the SAFe is SAFe 4.5. Now, if you see SAFe at a team level, which is the very basic thing, you have three common roles: agile team, product owner, and scrum master, which we all are well aware about it. And these are the events that is happening: your sprint planning, your backlog grooming, your daily stand-up, your execution, your sprint demo, your sprint retrospective, and IP sprints. Now, what is IP sprints? Okay, IP sprint stands for innovation and planning sprints. Now, what are the artifacts that we deliver at a team level? We deliver team backlog, we deliver non-functional requirement, we deliver teams PI objectives, the iteration, the stories, working software, the sprint goals, the built-in quality, the spikes, and team Kanban. So here there are some new things introduced along with what was part of your regular agile. Like we have something PI objective. PI objective is your program objective, which we just discussed. Then there are new items like Team Kanban. What is Team Kanban?
Uh, you like bring something like everything you have something like what did you do or something like that.
No. So Team Kanban, here I'm talking about the artifact. Now remember, if you have seen in some companies or if you Google about Kanban, you would see a board, a whiteboard, wherein you would see a sticky notes, wherein you would categorize them as what you would deliver, what has been delivered, and what you are working on. Only three list of items would be there. Now those are in the form of physical asset where you would stick all those sticky notes. So those are also part of your artifacts when it comes to team level, practicing safe at a team level. So team Kanban board. Then something called as spikes. Now spike is a story that cannot be estimated until a development team runs a investigation about it. So it needs more investigation by the development team. Only functional analysis is not sufficient for it. So spikes are a new thing. I mean, spike, team Kanban, team PI objectives are some of the new things that would come into picture when you have to implement safe at a team level. Now, what about implementing safe at a program level? Now, when we implement safe at a program level, we have these roles into picture. Now, at a team level, it is very simple. We have agile team, product owner, and scrum master. But when we implement safe at a program level, we have DevOps team, we have system team, we have release management team, we have product management team, we have user experience architect, we have release train engineer, we have system architect or engineer, we have business owner, lean agile leader, community of practice, shared services, customer. So imagine how many people are involved at a program level when it comes to implementing safe at a program level. Then you have these events. You have program increment planning event. You have system demos. You have to inspect and adopt workshop. You have architectural runway. You have release anytime. You have agile release train, and you have your uh, additional release plan that are there. And these are the artifacts that you create program backlog, program epics, program Kanban, release milestone matrix, roadmap, vision, then non-functional requirement, weighted shortest job first, program PI objectives, feature enabler, solution, value stream coordination, and so on. There are many other things that you deliver at a program level. Now what about implementing safe at a portfolio level? Now in portfolio level, you would be having these roles: enterprise architects, program portfolio management, and the epic owners. And the event would be strategic investment planning and Kanban portfolio epic planning. And the artifacts would be these artifacts: strategic themes, enterprise, portfolio backlog, portfolio Kanban, NFRs, epic, enablers, value stream, budget, and so on. Then if you implement safe at a value stream level. Value stream is not part of safe 3.0 framework. It is part of safe 4.0 plus framework onwards. So here you would be having these set of people: DevOps, system team, release management, solution management, UX, value stream engineer, solution architect, engineer, shared services, customer, and supplier. And these are some of the events: pre and post PI planning, solution demos, inspect and adopt workshop, and agile release stream. And these are the artifacts that you would be delivering, not as a single team member, but all of these people may deliver it individually or may deliver it collectively, depending on their roles and responsibilities. Now, if you consider what are the core roles in SAFe framework, these are the core roles in SAFe framework. At an portfolio level, it would be enterprise architect and the Epic owners. At a program level, it would be product managers, the system architect, UX, system team, DevOps, and your release train engineer. And there would be lean agile leader who would be contributing to both portfolio and program level. At a team level, you would be having product owner, scrum master, and the scrum team. Now, if you consider the meetings of it, at the team level, you would be having backlog grooming, sprint planning, task planning, daily stand up, review, and sprint retrospective. If you consider the meetings at the program level, you would be having roadmap planning, portfolio program meeting, release planning meeting, product management meeting, scrum of scrum. So daily or every other day optional. Then you would be having roadmap planning, portfolio program meetings at a portfolio level, budgeting meeting at a portfolio level, and architectural planning at a portfolio level. And these would be the deliverables. The prioritized backlog user story, defect, task, burn down, burn up, defect log at team level. At a program level, you would be having program backlog, featured roadmap, release plans, release burn down, release burn up. And at a portfolio level, you would be having strategic theme, epic Kanban, feature roadmap budgets, and portfolio performance matrix. So to summarize, we covered what is lean, we understood what is enterprise agile, the SAFe agile framework we explored, we understood the foundation of SAFe framework, we understood what is agile release train, we understood how to implement SAFe framework, we saw SAFe at a team level, at a program level, at a portfolio level, and at a value stream level, and we understood some of the core roles in SAFe framework. Now, the important consideration or important takeaway from this session is that as a business analyst, it's not like that you would be directly, working in a particular team level if you are getting a project which is already undergoing in this SAFe framework. You may get tagged to your portfolio or program level as well. So depending on that, your roles and responsibility would be different.